All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekakwadash. Giving double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone. Shalom to the hopefully late. Shalom to all the brothers out here laboring in this truth with sincerity. Shalom to the few sisters that watch. It's coming back with another lesson. This is going to be a quick one, you know, unless the Spirit says otherwise. But we're just going to, just touch on, what's to come, man. We know that it's two major prophecies that has to take place before the Lord comes back. That's the implementation of the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, as well as World War III. But all in the midst of all this, you're going to have Jacob's trouble also, So these are the major things that we're looking out for. These are the major things that we're sending the warnings out, to our people, First and foremost, the elect. This is what it's all about. So, we're going to continue to bring this word out until the Lord, brings the famine of the word. And, through the Spirit, we truly believe that, all these things will be here soon. So let's get the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2. Salakia. It's the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, and we'll start from the top. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I'm reproved. So, and we're coming in that same spirit, man. We're standing upon our watch, seeing what's taking place throughout the earth, what mainly what these Edomites are doing, as well as the other nations. But first and foremost, these Edomites, man, because we know that they're the ones who are in rulership right now. So we got an eye on them and their actions, and it's not just isolated to one place. This devil is going throughout the earth, man. Matter of fact, we can get that. The book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 12. Because this is clearly what's going on. His dollar is of no value. He's in debt. He's like that street guy, on his last leg, man. He has no other options. So he's out to do desperate things. And this is the same thing these Edomites are doing. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So desperate times calls for desperate measures. So this devil's back against the wall, man. Hey, he gonna come out swinging. He gonna come out doing everything possible to hold on to this kingdom, man. His kingdom is slipping away right before his eyes and right before the eyes of the world. And it's all prophecy, man. This is an advantage that we have over these unbelievers. These unbelievers are scared. They don't know what move to make. While the men of the Lord are not worried, man. We know what his devil is, what his plan is. We know what his goal is. We know the regions of the earth that he wants to take over and why. We know because it's all in the scriptures. So This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2. We'll start back from the top. It says, I will stand upon my watch and will set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I'm reproved. Let's go into this word reproved. Get some edification on that. When I'm reproved.
Strong's H 8433, Tochecha, Tochecha, and second entry, Tochacheth, Tochacheth.
Strong's definition says chastisement, figuratively correction, refutation, proof. Let's see. It says rebuke, correction, reproof, punishment, chastisement, argument, reproof, impeachment, reproof, chiding, correction, rebuke. You know. So you gotta have the answers, man. Gotta have the answers. You know, you gotta be watchful. You gotta understand what's going on. Because you're gonna be tried, you know. People are not gonna believe what you're saying. You know, they gonna come up against you. Oh, that ain't true. You don't know what you're talking about. You know. This is verse 2. It says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. So that's what we're doing, man. We're making this plain upon tables. So you really can't come up against it. If you come up against it, then you just a straight up unbeliever. And the Lord has your eyes blinded, man. You know, he got you blinded. You know, but the elect once the elect read this, once the elect hear this truth coming out, you know, and it's being made plain upon tables, they're gonna understand, and they're gonna run with it. You know. Verse 3, it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. You know, we know pursuant to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, you know, Babylon the Great, aka America, is known as the cities with unwalled villages, man. You know, this place it has never been hit with any kind of nuclear weapons. No other nation has tried to come here. You know, you had Pearl Harbor, but you know that really even wasn't the landmass of America, man. You know, that was Hawaii. You know, but yeah, Salakia, call keep coming in, like, man, you know, but America, you know, Babylon the Great has not been touched, you know, when it comes to, you know, another nation, you know, coming here and, you know, bringing forth war. You know, the main land of America has never been touched. That's why it's known as the city of unwalled villages. But the pride of the citizens here, mainly these Edomites, first and foremost, these Edomites, you know, due to their military strength, you know, even the citizens, you know, they think that the pride that these people have is unreal, you know, but what they fail to realize, you know, it's going to be a great humbling, man, coming from the Most High, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. You know, your weaponry don't stand a chance to the power that actually created it. You know, so a great humbling is coming, you know, to these Edomites, and it's gonna be a beautiful sight. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 11, and verse 14. This is one of those visions is set for an appointed time. World War III. It says the second war is past, and behold, the third woe come quickly. You go into that word woe, and it's destruction. So really, you could substitute woe for war here, man. That third world war is gonna be the last one. And you tell people this, people of the world is, and they just don't believe it. They don't believe it at all. Let's go to the book of Daniel, chapter 12. And it says the time of the end. The book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 1. It says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, that the great prince that standeth for the children of thy people, children of Israel, elect. It says, and there shall be a time of trouble, Jacob's trouble, such as was never since there was a nation, even to the same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered. Because right before those missiles hit America, the elect are going to be beamed up out of here, man. That's salvation. Beamed up out of here before the ultimate destruction of America. By way of chariots, what these people ignorantly call UFOs or UAPs. It says, everyone that shall be found written in the book. The elect. So that's another vision, that's set for an appointed time, So let's go to the other one. And this is the book of Revelation, chapter 13. And we're going to drop down, because this is major right here. Once you see this taking place, it's over, man. The time is definitely short. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, and we'll start at verse 16. It says, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. And that's everybody. That covers everybody. To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. This is the RFID microchip. Whether it be implemented, as a brain chip. We see Elon Musk ramping up the productivity of these brain chips. And it's not by accident. Or, the RFID microchip, which is about the same size as a grain of rice. It's going to be put in your hand, And, you go into the right hand, it's just really a strong hand. Not necessarily the right hand, because you got people that's use their left hand, So, really you go into that. Let's see. The right side was usually, let's see. It's been a minute since I looked this up, but it really goes into the strong hand. And I should have looked that up before. Let's see. Man, it's a lock here. Yeah, I should have looked that up. I should have went into it. And it's slipping my mind right now. But it really means your strong hand. And Lord willing, I can do a lesson on that. Man, that hurts. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. There. it tanks. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back into that because it really means a strong hand. But yeah, Lord willing, I can go into that at a later date. But let's go to the book of Second Esdras, chapter 16. Because it's gonna be so bad out here, man. It's gonna be real bad. And this is the prophet Ezra, or Esdras, same person. But this is how bad it's gonna be in the last days, man. Speaking of Jacob's trouble. This is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 16 and verse 17. It says, woe is me, who would deliver me in those days? It says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? So it's going to be bad out here, man. You're not going to have food, going to be a whole lot of death around you. Martial law, and the powers shall stand in fear, man. These people going to be terrified. It says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are set as scourges for amendment. So it's the best thing to do is to repent, because you out here sinning, you're going to get caught up. You're going to get caught by the famine, or you're going to get caught by the plague, or you might get caught by both. Or you might get caught by all of them, man. So the best thing to do is, be ye converted. Verse 19, it says, behold, famine. Well, we just got this. Like it. Verse 20, it says, but for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of scourges. So even in the midst of all this chaos, death, destruction, plagues, you still gonna have, 2/3 out here, man, running rampant. Verse 21, it says, behold, victuals, which goes into food, shall be so good cheap upon the earth, and they shall think themselves to be in good case. Like now, you talk to people, they tell you, they don't think we in dire times. They think they holding on to think things are going back to normal. But what they fail to realize is the Most High is going to escalate this thing to a point. Really, it's already at a point of no return, but it's going to continue to get worse. It says, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth. And that's what we're seeing. Sword, famine, and great confusion. There's a whole lot of people confused now, man. It says, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine. And we just went into it yesterday at camp, man. It's so bad. It was so bad, and this is one of the curses, man. Pursuant to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 53, if I'm not mistaken, cannibalism, eating the fruits of eating your own fruits, man. Eating the fruit of your loins, your children. It says, and the other that escaped the hunger shall the sword destroy. So, man, it's going to be bad. Verse 23, it says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung. You're just going to be thrown out, man. These bodies piled on top of bodies, stinking everywhere. It says, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. A whole lot of death, man. So, with that being said, man, this is just a warning going out to all the people that's on the fence, all the people that's watching different groups, not thinking that they got more time. Nah, man. Make no tarrying and turn to the Lord. So with that being said, we want to constantly give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rakakwadash. Shalom.